Hey there. Subscribe to my channel and also press this bell icon so you can get latest video notifications. And this is absolutely free.
You will hear a woman talking on the phone to a furniture company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good afternoon, KT Furniture. Can I help you?
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm setting up a new office and I don't have internet access yet, but I'd like to place an order for some furniture.
That's fine. You can do it over the phone and I can fill in the form for you this end.
Oh, great. Thanks.
I just need to take a few customer details first, if that's okay.
Yes, fine.
What name is it?
My name?
Yes.
Oh, it's Sue Brown.
Sue Brown. Thanks. And what's the name of your company, Miss Brown?
It's a clothing company. It's called Dress Your Best.
Okay, I'll just note that down. Dress for best.
No, Your Best.
Oh, right. Got it. So you make smart clothes?
Yes, formal dress for weddings and special occasions. We also repair and alter clothes.
I see. And where are you located? What's your postal address?
Right, well, we're on Kirby Trading Estate.
Kirby. How do you spell that?
It's Kirby.
Oh, I know that area. It's New Hampton Road, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Number 210 in South Down.
Okay. And can I have a contact number for our delivery man?
Sure. It's probably best if I give you my mobile number.
Okay.
The number's 09356 788 545.
Okay. 778.
No, 788 545.
Oh. Okay, that's great. Now, just a couple more questions before I take your order.
Fine.
We have 2 delivery dates this month, and you should be able to have either.
When are they?
Well, there's one on the 16th of the month, but there's a charge of $40 for that one.
Oh, that's a lot.
Or there's option 2, which is the end of the month. I'll have to confirm the date later, and that's a free delivery.
I'll take option 2, thanks. I don't want to pay a charge.
Okay, I'll note down no charge.
We haven't organised the office yet, so there should be plenty of time.
And lastly, you don't have an account with us, so how would you like to pay?
Oh, I'll pay by credit card.
Okay, will that be Visa?
Is American Express okay?
Absolutely fine.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, what would you like to order?
Well, I've been looking in your catalogue and you have some office chairs that look very comfortable for our type of work.
Is there an item code?
Yes, it's ASP 23.
OK, those chairs come in pink, white and black.
Yes, the pink looks nice, but I think the darker colour's better for us. You can see light materials on it more easily.
That's true.
We'll have 5 of those, I think.
OK, I've got that. Anything else?
Do you have any striped mats?
I'm sorry, not at the moment. They're out of stock. We should have some in next month.
Never mind. I'd also like 2 of your glass desks.
Oh, they're lovely, aren't they?
Yes. You seem to have 2 sizes?
Basically, large or small. I think the code for the small ones is...
I think we'll have the large ones. The code here is TG586.
OK. So, that's 2 glass desks. Any lamps for those?
No, we have to get special lamps for our work.
Oh, I see. Do you have another supplier for those?
Yes. We do need some furniture for our customers, though.
OK, for a waiting area or something?
Well, we have to discuss the work with them, so we need a nice sofa.
Something soft and...
I thought leather.
Ah, yes, a good choice.
There's a 3-seater here, DFD 44. That seems to be in red, cream or chocolate brown.
Yes, it does come in yellow as well.
Yellow? I'd thought of red, but that sounds lively. Yes, I'll have that colour. I think brown's a bit too dull and cream shows the dirt too much.
Yeah, you're right. Anything else? A coffee table, perhaps?
Yes, I think so. Maybe TX22, the silver one?
A very good choice.
Well, that's it, I think.
OK, I'll just add that up for you and then take your credit card details.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You are going to listen to a conversation between 2 students about preparing a questionnaire as part of an essay assignment.
First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
I've never written an essay of more than 1,500 words before, Anne.
Me neither, Mark, and it scares me.
I wouldn't worry. We'll just have to pretend it's 4 essays of 1,500 words and join them together.
It says here in the assignment notes Dr. Brightwell gave us that we're to write between 5,000 and 6,000 words on some aspect of students' attitudes, backed up by our own research, which we present in the form of tables, graphs, charts or whatever, and supported by reference to the list of books she gave us. Oh, I didn't realise there had been so many social science books written about students.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot. And the questionnaire?
Yes. We have to prepare a questionnaire to gather our own data for the graphs, etc., and hand it in to Dr. Brightwell in draft form in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks?
That's what she said, and what it says here. She says that it's better to have it checked before we go on to collect the information and start the writing.
Suppose she's right. We'd better get started then. But she didn't say how we were going to put the questionnaire together. Does it say anything in the notes?
Nope. It only says that we are limited to 4 sides of A4 and no more than 50 questions.
If that's the case, it's not that bad.
Before you hear the rest of the programme, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
So, how are we going to do it?
Well, first we need to know who we're aiming it at. Then decide how many questions we're going to ask. I think we could have about 40 questions maximum. I don't think there's any real need to go up to the 50 limit. And I think we should keep the questions themselves very simple.
Don't worry. In my case, they will be.
We could have a mixture of question types like multiple choice questions, yes, no, and agree, disagree, with boxes for people to tick. If people are asked to write down anything, it's unlikely they will fill it in.
So, are we going to give this questionnaire out to people to hand in, or are we going to just stop and ask them around the campus or on the street?
I don't really know. Did she say anything about this? No, she didn't. And there is nothing in these notes she gave us either.
I think we ought to give them out.
OK.
Anyway, it won't affect the way we design the questionnaire.
We're both doing it on different subjects, but there's nothing wrong with pooling our ideas about the mechanism of the questionnaire.
No, none. What are you doing your project on?
I've been thinking about doing something around the subject of how aware students are of world affairs. People think that we're all up to date, but I very much doubt it. It would also be interesting to compare students in different years. And you?
I'm doing something on health and sport, and whether students are more or less active since they came to university.
Sounds interesting. As the questionnaires can be anonymous, I'll fill in your first questionnaire for you. But I'm sure you won't be surprised by my answers.
Somehow, I don't think so.
I suggest we put together about 20 or 25 questions each and then meet tomorrow or the day after and compare them.
Are you going to type yours up?
Yeah, then I can come round to your place and we can work on them. You've got a laptop, haven't you?
Yes, and I've got some new design software so we can play around with the layout.
Brilliant. Are you any good at doing charts and things?
I know how to do simple things on the computer, but we'll sort something out.
OK.
I feel much better about all this now. It doesn't seem quite as bad as I first thought.
No, don't worry, we'll get it done.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a tutor and 2 students discussing a business case study. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
Right, Jason and Karen. Now, I asked you to look at the case study for Box Telecom as part of your exam assessment. It's interesting because they're in the middle of problems at the moment, and I want you to track how they deal with them. Let's start with you, Karen. Having read through the case study, can you just summarise what the problems were that Box Telecom had to take on board?
Well, of course, what first came to their attention was that despite a new advertising campaign, they were suffering from falling sales, and this is something that had many causes. On top of that immediate problem, what had also happened over the last 2 years was that although they had invested in an expansion plan, they had to face up to increased competition. And before they had a chance to get to grips with the effects of that, they were stalled by a strike, and it was just when they were thinking about making a colossal investment in new machinery for their plants. So they were really in trouble.
Yes, I think that's fair. And, Jason, now you contacted the company, didn't you? What did the company define as the reasons for these problems?
Well, I think they've hit on the right things. It would be easy to say they had invested too heavily or at the wrong time, but in fact the signs were good, and what they were set back by was high interest rates. At the same time, their longer-term problems, which were affecting their market share, were eventually credited to poor training, and having looked at the details in their last report, I think that's right.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
So, on to the larger issues then. Karen, what do you think the company will do?
Well, obviously they have the choice of accepting the very favourable terms that another company, KMG plc, have given them to buy them out. That would mean creating a new company with a new image. Or they could decide on a bolder move and offer some new shares if they wanted. But I think they're much more cautious than that and expect they will start trying to find individuals who'd be prepared to back them with some of the capital they need.
Well, you mustn't always assume that dramatic problems require dramatic solutions. Sometimes there's a simple fix, such as changing the guy at the top. If they truly are cautious, then I suspect they will seek to shut down some of their shops. But a more ambitious approach, and one which I think would have more chance of success, would be to alter how they're running things, the management layers and the processes. So, in your analysis, try to think of all the options. Jason?
Yes, it's interesting because I found it a really useful company to study. Its problems cross all types of industries, and it's lucky it's so big. A smaller or even medium-sized company would have gone under by now.
Ah, well, in fact, what I want you two to do is to go away when we've finished our discussion today and write a report. We've looked in general at the telecommunications market in the UK over the last few sessions, and I want you to take Box Telecom as an example and suggest some ways in which they might overcome their problems, and outline the reasons why you think as you do, but try and keep it intrinsic to the company rather than dragging in other examples. Is that okay, Karen?
Yes, I think I can do that. Personally, I've got great hopes for it. I think it will recover. That advertising campaign they did was very strong, and they're very innovative with their products. They set new trends.
The company's got to recover, don't you think, Jason?
I'm not sure. I think it can, but it's not a foregone conclusion unless they manage to attract the right level of investment. The company definitely needs a boost, and to attract more highly skilled workers if their recovery is to be long-lasting. When I was talking to the marketing manager, he said to me that he thinks the company had got a great management team. But he would say that, wouldn't he? But they are suffering from having to work with outdated production machinery, and that could cost a lot to put right.
Well, personally, I think the stock market is to blame. I think they were expecting too much of the company, and then inevitably it looked bad when it didn't perform. The market should have had more realistic expectations. And I disagree with you about the advertising campaign, Karen. That's where they could do with some innovation to get sales kick-started. Anyway, let's see what you come up with those.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
So, you have graduated from university and decided to continue studying towards a master's or PhD. At some stage during the next few years, you will need to consider your thesis. One of the greatest difficulties faced by postgraduate students is choosing a topic to base their dissertation on. Writing a thesis can be very daunting, but the task is much more straightforward if the topic you select is appropriate for you. So, what can you do to solve this problem? Well, there are several things to keep in mind. Firstly, you need to do your research so that you are very familiar with all the current literature. On top of this, you also need to be sure that you have a broad knowledge of your area of specialization. If you do this, it will help you with the next important point in choosing a good subject for your research, which is to ascertain what is relevant in your research area. This will be crucial in helping you to narrow your choices down. From the very beginning, it really is vital to set clear limits and to have a very fixed plan in terms of the scope of your research. It can be even more helpful to analyze existing research and ask yourself if there are any controversies. Perhaps there is a theory that you may want to challenge, and this could be the focus of your study. A further and very important factor to take into account is your own financial resources. If these are limited, then you need to avoid choosing a study that will involve costly equipment or surveys. However, if this is the case, you needn't despair or abandon your ideas altogether. Instead, make inquiries into funding from external agencies such as your local government. You may even find that local industries are willing to support your research by providing a grant. It's always worth looking around to see just what is possible. And finally, be sure to make good use of your tutor, especially when it comes to making sure that your findings are accurate.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.